Hello and welcome to another Heart to Heart. My name's Amanda, and today the guest that I have with me is Aisling. I'm pronouncing your name right for once, right? Compared to when I mentioned you in the last video. I said Aisling the first time I mentioned her in one of my videos, so I've worked on
Yeah. That's okay. It can be difficult, I think, for people who aren't familiar with the Irish language. It's like they see it and they're like, Aisling,
Yep,
Asling, I don't know, but
that's
Aisling.
exactly what I said, Aisling. Yeah, so Aisling, I think it's very beautiful, lovely
Thank
name.
you.
So Aisling is an artist, a writer, an intuitive, a video creator.
Yeah,
Uh, so many of the people that I speak to do so many things. So the introduction is always a little bit hard to sum up, right?
it
Uh,
is. Yeah.
but I want to also mention right away again the painting aspect and show my painting, because this painting that Aisling made for me, that you made for me, is it always sits in my office here next to me as this reminder for tapping into abundance and shifting me out of the wage slave mentality and
Yeah.
wound. And it's been really, really helpful. So I mentioned
Yeah.
it
I can
in a
I
video.
can remember creating that painting for you, and I just remember it being such an honor to do so, because when you first brought up this wage slave project that you were doing, I was immediately hit by the force of those words and what they mean, and how this is a story that I think so many people are still feel very trapped in. And so I really honor the fact that you were wading right in there, tackling that incredibly difficult subject, and it was just an honor to bring through, I guess, an energy or a presence that might help you with that. It was an honor just to witness what you were doing, and yeah, I still remember creating that and just feeling very moved by that vision that was coming forward of this being who would provide for everyone on earth if we just stopped competing and let go of the lack mentality and the need to push other people down. That was a very strong message that came through when I did that painting. And looking at it now, I'm just remembering everything I felt when I was sitting there creating it. Yeah, that was a big one for me.
Wow. Wow. It's so cool to hear. I don't know, because Ashley and I have never actually spoken face to face, speaking to the viewers face to face like this. And this painting honestly helped me in ways that I never would have imagined possible, to be honest. Like, if I would have seen a painting like this, I don't know, like 3 months, or when was this? Like 5 months ago, I wouldn't have ever known the power of art that is possible on this energetic level in working with somebody like this. Like, that was very surprising to me. And all I knew when I contacted you about making this was that it just felt like an amazing way to be able to support an artist. And I didn't know the depth of the energy work and the energy healing that could actually be experienced in like commissioning a piece in that way. And when after I reached out to you, I guess we're going to go into this. We're always kind of just feeling into where this is going, but I would like to tell my experience in like reaching out to you about this. So I reached out to you. I had this feeling like I just, I don't know. I saw your other paintings. I've seen like some of your videos online. We're in a mastermind group together, and I'm like, I like her paintings. I think it's so cool that she's doing this kind of work, and I'm struggling with this thing right now. Why not reach out to her for some support? So I reach out, and then I get, even that act of like reaching out to you and you responding, I was already getting my money's worth. I felt like I didn't even receive the painting yet. I was already just receiving like your energy, your attention, it already felt like you were holding space for me through something that was very difficult, which it was so supportive. I didn't feel alone anymore. even though you were far away and I didn't know you super well, it was just like, wow, I felt like I wasn't alone anymore. And that was big. That was so big, you know?
Oh,
And then,
Amanda.
I know.
So sweet. It
And
really
then
is.
so I received this first sketch, right? The first sketch of what was kind of coming through for you on this. And already I was just like, oh, like I was just so curious to see your process and just seeing those first steps. Like, okay, wow, she's getting it and she's seeing this. And then actually receiving the painting. When I took it out of its envelope, I felt the energy. I felt, I don't even know how to describe it because it was really this feeling, you know, like it just felt wrapped in love and care, and it meant so much to me. It was like, wow, this is actually physically here with me now, you know. That was huge. That was huge for me. It was really such a gift. So I never would have thought that like just asking for help in this way instead of like, because you know, I've experimented with booking a session with somebody, a Reiki session, a tarot reading, speaking with somebody, but I've never tried this form of support or healing. And it was very, very powerful. So I wanted to share that with you because I had never really like said it to you and to whoever's watching, because I want people to know the power of art in this way in case they've never experienced it either. So I wanted to say that. I guess that was my heart clearing after all. So thank you, Aisling.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's funny, I can just remember that I've had a lot of strange timing issues with my paintings lately, and I remember that painting taking a long time to reach you. There was a delay with international mail, and I didn't know if it was going to get to you. And I actually, you know, Gabby, who you had on recently in Heart to Heart, I sent a painting to her that got sent back to me. Like, luckily, I had put a return address on it, but it got sent back to me, and we didn't know why. And then I sent it again, and it arrived a couple of days later, like well over a month and a half before she'd first ordered it. So I've had a lot of strange timings going on with my paintings recently, and them being delayed for whatever reason. Which, as you know, a small artist who isn't that well known, you'd sort of be like, no, I don't want this, you know, making people feel less inclined to work with me. But I think when I let go of that anxiety and just trusted, well, the paintings are on their way and they'll reach the people who need them when they need to, the timing of that will turn out to have been perfect. Even if it does not seem like that at the time, even if I'm up the walls wondering, has my painting got lost in the post somewhere? So hearing what that meant to you, to receive the painting and the energy of it, and to feel that it did support you at the time that you needed it, means a lot to me. Thank you.
And yeah, I think maybe that's why I needed to express this to you, just so that you know, and that anybody who might watch this or end up wanting to work with you knows that it's the whole process. It's like it starts right at the beginning, before the painting is even made and before the painting is in your hands. It's like it's that first exchange. It's already it's so energetic. Actually, it's just from like it's the decision to work with you, and that's why honestly, like I feel like you provide such a value. Like I feel like you could put your prices up for sure, you know, like it's very powerful. It's very powerful. So so I'm curious to know how you got to this. Like I know that you do a lot of things, and
I it's funny, I can remember seeing a discussion recently around, you know, your social media handle should be a very concise, neat title that tells people exactly what you do. And I'm like, well, I do this thing and I do that thing and I do the other thing. How do I sum it all up apart from just using my name?
yeah.
Now, if I do think of some amazing business name that blows me away at some point, I will put it out there, I guess. But at the moment, I'm into spiritual channeling, I'm into spiritual art, I'm into intuitive guidance, I'm into all kinds of things. And whether that falls together into one point of focus or not, I know that my path will unfold in the way that it's meant to, for sure. But the question you asked was about how I got into painting. So, I mean, I was always very inclined towards drawing and sketching and observing the world around me, even as a kid. But I didn't really think of doing it in any sort of professional context until last year, actually, when I had just started making videos and putting my, I guess, spiritual work out there. And I was trying to think of, well, what sort of services could I actually provide that might support people or help them to discover their own truth, really. And I had a few years earlier done a painting for my aunt who initiated me into Reiki. And as part of my energy exchange for her doing that for me, I created this painting for her that in my mind represented Reiki as an infinity spiral and us channeling it down, and it coming down to the earth from the ethers. And I did that painting, and she has used that in Reiki sessions ever since to support her while she's bringing down that energy. And so that was the first time I'd ever done something like that. And I did that a few years ago, and I didn't really think anything of it. But then last year, when I was getting to a point where I was stepping forward publicly, and I didn't know what direction to go in, this painting came to mind, and I thought, okay, what if I put this out there as an idea and see if people like it? And it turned out that people did. And since then, I feel I've been on an evolving journey, and the art has been teaching me even as I've been creating it, I think. Like going back to your painting, for example, I really felt that I was channeling Mother Earth in a sense in that painting,
Mm.
that her message of abundance and I will provide if you stop pushing each other down those steps and ladders and trying to suppress, you know, those who have historically lived in poverty. If you just stop competing and seeing everything as scarce and you need to scrap for survival, I will always provide. My waters will never stop flowing. Like even stuff like that, when I'm sitting there with my pencil and paintbrush and all of this wisdom is coming through, I'm just blown away and honored by the fact that I get to be a vehicle for that sort of consciousness. It's yeah.
It's big, right? And that's exactly the energy that I feel like you're helping me connect to, you know, and this is just like the just the physical representation of that, but really there's something like even deeper going on, right? And it is cool to have like a physical reminder of that, that I can look at and be like, I don't know, I do see Mother Earth and I do feel myself like drawn in and connected and support. Like I love like the almost like a hug that I feel when I see this as well. And so it is kind of a feeling of support. And so it's just such a beautiful way to materialize all of this invisible, all of these invisible things that we're maybe feeling or wanting to connect to, but struggling to connect to. And so I don't, since then actually, and I haven't really talked about this yet on my channel, but I am like, in terms of prosperity consciousness, like I am shifting like crazy. And it's big, and I think it's going to start showing. I feel things moving really fast, but I don't know. It's things are still in the works, but you know, this is a piece of it. And so, like when I was kind of showing this painting and wrapping up the wage slave project, I felt myself like cutting off from something and stepping into this. And so that's what I meant when I'm saying like, thank you for the people who have helped, because that is what you did, you know? And that's big. That's so big. That's really important to me, you know? So it's so cool that I get to say this to you now. It's very cool.
Yeah.
There's something else I'd like to express to you. I know that
Yes.
I'm taking up a lot of space here, but it's something that comes to me a lot when I think of you and your videos, because I haven't watched all of your videos, though I do want to, because they are beautiful. The way that you express yourself really inspires me, because you have this softness and such a care with words that I find just absolutely beautiful and incredibly inspiring. And so when you say to me that you're watching my videos or you comment on my video, I'm like, wow, like this beautiful person is like watching me and like connecting with me. That's amazing to me, you know? So can we hear more about your whatever that brings up for you, or more about your journey with making videos? I'd be curious to know that too.
It's really an honor to me that you would say that, because your videos, especially your Wilder Days ones, have inspired me as well. I loved that you were putting your unfiltered artistic process out there, because recently I have now I like my main focus, I think, to date has been channeling and bringing through various spirit guides. But recently I've started to share more of my spoken word art, and I do want to say that seeing the way you did it inspired me to sort of put my own work out there in like an audio format, because I had posted poems to my social media and things, but that was just the written word. And since I've started actually speaking them aloud and putting images to them and music that I thought complemented the feel of those poems, I can feel myself shifting into a more powerful place with my writing work. So I do want you to know that it works two ways. I am very much inspired by what you do, especially your Wilder Days project. I think it was really liberating in a way to witness you do that and not worry about making sure that the words were maybe perfect. I admire the fact that you put them out there unedited, and this is what came through for me during my free writing session. And I'm going to combine that with beautiful images, and this is me. It really felt like you were saying, this is me. I'm putting my stuff out there. Yeah.
I can hear that. The bird is like, yes.
Oh, that was so funny. I love that. It's occasionally happened to me as well that I have had birds interrupt my video. So that was just perfect. That seagull was so loud.
Yeah.
Like I want to add my opinion to this
Yeah.
lovely hearing as well.
We're here too. Your bird friends.
Oh, my bird friends, yes, they're coming in to also agree that your work is great, Amanda. That's the first thing. Oh, yeah, but okay. So in terms of my video work more generally, I started doing that again last summer. Last summer is when I felt this huge drive to, I guess, put myself out there in a more visual way, which was really frightening for me at the time, because putting my face and my words to video and actually, I guess, stepping into the light was it was a big journey. It was a big process, and it took me maybe about a year or so from the time I felt I really would like to do this to actually in summer 2019 start doing that. I started out with just general little observations about spiritual topics that interested me, and then spirit guide work became a huge focus for me. And I think the first video series I did was on the feminine strain of Christian mysticism, which still means a lot to me, and I still want to go back to it. I channeled Thérèse of Lisieux, Teresa of Avila, Hildegard von Bingen, and then Mary Magdalene. And I find that they're still working with me in a lot of ways, even though I'm not at the moment doing any more channeling videos of them. I still feel that their energy is with me, and it'll step forward again when the time is right. Although Thérèse has made an appearance in my most recent video series a few times, which my most recent series is a series of channelings on the teachings I associate with an Atlantean high priest called Vosloo, who isn't that well known, I guess, but he's a big presence for me. And since I started putting those videos out there, I have had people messaging me to say that, I really felt that he was there in those videos, and I've had him subtly connect with me since I watched this video, and getting those messages has meant a lot to me. So channeling work has been a major focus in my videos to date, and then it's only recently that I think become less literal and more symbolic, and your Wilder Days series has been part of what inspired me to do that, in putting my poetry and my spoken work out there in video form. Yeah, so that's been my journey with videos so far.
Wow.
I'm sure there's more to come.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I find they're so well done. So I could definitely see you continuing to explore that form of creation as this artist who has so many different talents and ways that you can work. I want to touch on Thérèse de Lisieux, is how I would say her name. How did you say it? Therese? Therese?
Teresa of Avila.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or of Lisieux.
Oh,
Thérèse.
Thérèse of Lisieux.
Yeah.
So Teresa is Avila and Thérèse of Lisieux.
Okay, yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Because for me, like you know what, that is I think one of the first videos that you made that really caught my attention, that really made me see you and see your work, because I actually went to Lisieux in France.
Yeah.
And I discovered more about her in being in that space. And so when I saw your video, I was like, oh, what does she like? What is this? And it really caught my attention because it's the space that I've been in, and I think I was already kind of connecting to that energy. And now that I understand all of these things a little bit more, I think I would actually have to go watch your video again and see, because I don't think when I watched it the first time that I really understood a lot of these things. I'm still opening up, I'm still new to a lot. So there's a lot for me to unpack here. But I like when you're talking about Mary Magdalene as well. I'm really working with that energy right now. And I think that's why I also wanted to wear like flowers and roses, and there's like this red energy kind of coming through. And I knew that I wanted to connect with that with you. So I love that. I love your work with like channeling these energies and kind of giving voice to them through you. Feel like I think it's really.
Yeah, it was. Thérèse was the first sort of spiritual being who I channeled. So, and I found that actually out of all the videos in that series, Thérèse is the one who's drawn the most attention, which is interesting to me because Thérèse, during her lifetime, was quite shy and reserved, and her path, which is the little way, is all about simplicity and living with a childlike heart, I would say. And so I'm really intrigued by the fact that her very simple message of living in trust has resonated the most with people, because her energy is so gentle and so quiet, and she's very much, there's nothing about her that's imposing or intimidating, which it could be maybe for some of the more well-known spiritual figures. Like I know a lot of people resonate with Mary Magdalene, and she's this very powerful force. And I think it's almost like people have to integrate Mary Magdalene's teachings bit by bit, whereas with Thérèse, it's all about simplicity and not making things any more complicated than they have to be. And so I can see why her work, her teachings, and what I've done with her has resonated the most with people. So Thérèse was the first person I ever channeled, and I can remember being so nervous before that one, because I had said in a previous video that I was going to do this, and it felt important that I did say to other people, I am going to be doing this, or I could have backed out. I think sometimes there's that element of, well, I said I'm going to do it, and if I don't do it, everyone's going to know that I didn't.
Yeah.
It was important to have that external accountability, I suppose, that I have committed to doing this, and I'm not going to back away or be too afraid or think, oh no, I can't do this. And Thérèse was the perfect person to start with, I think, because she's so gentle and so loving and just so simple in everything that she says. And after finishing that video, I was like, I can actually do this. I can sit back and let my own energy retreat and just allow her words to flow through me. It was a discovery that I think everybody has the ability to do that. It's just that a lot of people don't think they do, or they aren't really open or aware of that aspect of themselves. And it can take practice, I suppose, to step into enough of a state of surrender that you can just allow that wisdom to flow through. But Thérèse was my first attempt at even trying to do that. And when that video was over and I felt like, okay, I trust that I said what needed to be said, and Thérèse communicated in a way that she was meant to in that particular video. That really gave me the confidence to keep going and keep making videos and just know that they would touch people's hearts in whatever way they're meant to do.
Wow.
Thérèse was my introduction to that, so she's still very dear to my heart. And I would really love to go to Lisieux one day, whenever
Let me
travel
know if
becomes
you can.
possible. Yes,
I'll meet you there.
absolutely. Oh, I would
That's
totally
so
do that.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah, because I love what you're saying about what her message is. You see, I had already forgotten that that's a big piece of what her teaching was around this simplicity. And I actually love this because it's really connected to what I've been trying to allow myself to step into when I'm making videos. So I think it makes so much sense that that was one of your first videos, channeling that energy, because it's just this reminder as we're creating that it's okay. Like we can just, I have on my wall next to me, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah.
Always try to remember that simplicity is important in this world where we have like so much and we can be doing all kinds of things, and we've been also like programmed in school and stuff to think that it needs to be so grandiose all the time, when it's like, actually, if I sit here and surrender and just let either my heart express, or if I'm channeling some being, like that is really trusting and keeping it simple. Keeping it simple, and yet it looks simple because there's no planning and all of these things, but it's quite difficult in this day and age to kind of actually do that.
I think her message is resonating so much because it's like you said, in this era we have so many different ways to, I suppose, manage our life journey or our spiritual journey, and we have all these techniques that we need to be doing. And I think that's amazing in one way, that we have so much information available to us, but then in another sense we can maybe get caught in a loop of trying to control and manage things too much. Whereas Thérèse's teaching of the little way and just accepting whatever comes up for you in each moment, that message really holds a lot of resonance
Mm.
in a society where you're just pelted with like a million different ways to do this and do that and find enlightenment by buying my $10,000 course.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some of that going on sometimes that I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I think a return to simplicity is what's needed on our planet in so many ways. And that's very much what Thérèse embodies. So
Mm.
yeah.
Beautiful. And so, can we talk a little bit about your? Well, I don't think it's finished. The current series with
Oh, the
this
series with Vosloo.
Atlantean
Yes.
high priest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I need to catch up on some of the videos, but I was watching the most recent one that you put out, and at the time of this recording, that was around a descent and
Ascension and descension.
yeah, and I don't know. I first of all, I just love your connection with this guide or this priest. You know, I love what you say about the humor and just even just this awareness and connection, like to the past life and this this knowing of this like relationship with this
Mm.
guide. I think that's so beautiful and so inspiring. So I don't know. I just love to hear whatever you feel like you want to express about that series or that connection or anything you'd like to share on that. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, so that series, I think it arose kind of organically because at the time that I first started making videos in summer 2019, one of the first things that came through after I did my initial sort of, hi, here I am, I'm into spirituality, I'm cool, whatever. I'm really not cool. But one of the first things that came through once I got over that initial, I've started making videos, stopped freaking out about that.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, one of the first things that came through was this connection to spirit guides and what they channeling what is right for me to channel. Because at the start of my series with Vosloo, I always say this is whatever installment of my series on the teachings I associate with him. It's not that I don't think there's any one human being who can channel every single thing that a spirit guide has to say. So this emphasis on spirit guides and channeling their messages was something that arose quite organically for me once I was past the phase of, oh my God, I can't believe I'm making videos. And he's someone who I've connected with for a number of years. I first felt him in my life around 2008, 2009, and it gradually developed over the following few years. And I had more and more incidents that were connecting me to him and more signs that this incredible presence was around me. I did do another whole video just about my connection with him, which is available on my channel, where I
Yeah.
told the whole story in great depth.
Yeah.
But basically, I have been on a journey with him for a number of years. And so when I actually started to step forward as somebody who would be publicly making material and I guess sharing my spiritual understandings and connecting with people in that way, he was one of those guides who was standing right behind me as I did that and encouraging me to keep going. So it felt very natural to lean into that connection I have with him and ask, well, what would you like to share? How can I help you to maybe become a bit more well known or to share your messages a bit more extensively? And since then, so that series began in January of this year. And since then, I've just been on this ever expanding journey with him of people watching, even if they just watch one video in the series and there's something that Vosloo says that connects with them, I found that they tend to message me and share that experience, which is a really beautiful, organic thing that began to happen as the series went on, is receiving like messages from people who had seen a video and wanted me to know that oh, I had a dream about Vosloo the following night and he told me this, and
Wow.
or oh, you said this thing, and then the next day I saw something that reminded me of what Vosloo had said, and there are all these lovely experiences that people have had that they've been telling me about, and so it's been an honor just to facilitate that for people and to share these messages that I feel from Vosloo in a way that seems right in each video. And again, I have no doubt that once this current series ends in October, I'll continue to work with him, and I'm sure he'll pop up again in future videos and add to whatever has come through previously. But just for this series alone, it's been such a positive step for me in my own journey of coming to understand what it is I am actually here to do. And to feel him there as a supportive presence who's always so positive and so encouraging and quite funny as well. He's he's definitely one for his jokes, for sure.
I love it. I love that, that support that he's giving you, and the fact that I've felt called to ask you about it just really makes me realize that like there is this part of me in my videos right now that keeps resurging or keeps coming out and saying like I want to talk about spirituality more, or weave that into my work more and more openly. And I guess I'm very inspired by you in the fact that you're doing that, and to know that you felt like you had that support from Vosloo to help you kind of be like, okay, I'm coming out and like this is what I'm doing. That's
Yeah.
that's really cool to know, just to hear about that process and to just get to have an idea of what it can feel like, because it's not easy to start putting out like this kind of material, right? And keep doing this thing. Yeah.
I know. Oh, I have to say, I just remembered when I initially felt drawn to put out spiritual channelings and spiritual
Yeah.
videos, one of the concerns I had was, oh God, everyone's going to think I'm weird. And
Mm.
Vosloo, who's always one for a joke, immediately said to me, well, people already think you're weird.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just confirming them.
Yeah.
It's just confirming what people already think, and it's no bad thing to be a little bit weird and strange, because in a world where being normal means suppressing your true self, being weird is the best, I think. There's
Yeah.
nothing quite like being weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, yeah, not suppressing yourself, letting it out in whatever way it feels like being expressed, whether it's like channeling a guide or whether it's asking questions to somebody else who is like, I don't know, right? But it's not worrying about those people who are gonna, because people are gonna think that you're weird. People are gonna think I'm weird for asking the questions about this, and it doesn't matter, because this is what I'm curious about. This is what I see you doing, and that I think is very interesting and very beautiful. And so why not,
Yeah, why not? That's the best reason to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? What's the worst that can happen? A few people are going to think maybe I'm off my rocker. That's okay.
And who cares, because in the end it's your life and your experience, and I have a feeling, like, I can't speak for you, but in my own experience of like when I let myself be weird or whatever, it's like you feel free, you feel much more fulfilled, much more aligned, and like you're really taking advantage of your life, right? Like it's your life, so that's all that matters, I think. Thank you for that. I think I like need that talk. It's like pep talk for myself.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love how when we are open about ourselves, we can bounce off each other and inspire each other. And, like I'm totally in encouragement of you putting your spiritual side out there more and saying whatever weird things come to mind. And, other weird people will think it's glorious. And that's the best feeling in the world. It is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, It's already been almost an hour since we started our call, like before the recording and everything. So I'm
Oh,
feeling like the wind down of all the stuff that I know that I really have been wanting to say to you. Um, but I'm just kind of checking in to see if there's anything else that wants to come through, and feel free to check in for yourself if there's something else you feel you want to say before we wrap this up, then by all means.
hmm. One thing that's coming forward for me in this moment is that I've recently felt an increasing desire in my work to focus on how we heal our relationship with nature.
Mhm.
Because once I wrap up the Vosloo series, the Green Man, who I've channeled a couple of times here and there, he's sort of informed me that he's the next one up. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing with him yet, but that aspect of helping people to reconnect to nature and heal some of the pollution problems that exist in our planet, that's coming forward as a major theme for me at the moment. And so that's where I see my work moving forward in the future. I've
Yeah.
already started doing workshops around healing our relationship with plastic.
Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which basically involves tuning into the ancient timeline in which plastic was still oil and actually connecting with the beings who formed that oil and understanding that even though a lot of people see the plastic problem as impossible, insurmountable, we're never going to be able to solve it, there is hope there. That's, I think, going to emerge as a major focus for me going forward.
Yeah, and again, I'm so glad you brought this up, because you were the first one that I've seen speaking about plastic in this way. And that was another series of yours that I really, really appreciated. And for anybody watching, I would highly recommend checking out, because I think you really did give me that first feeling of hope around plastic, and a whole other perspective of how we can, again, like energetically kind of work with plastic, and work to kind of heal these feelings around plastic, and how we're working with plastic right now. I have not seen anybody talking about this in that way, so that was very eye-opening for me, and I'm very excited to see where that's going to take you. Because I did participate in one of your meditations or
Yeah,
workshop, and are you still doing those? Because that
I am. Yeah, yeah. I
was
run them usually once a week, depending on how many people are interested. There'd always be like a couple of people, maybe two or three, sometimes four in each session. And I'm hoping that as I move forward in my work, it's going to maybe attract more people who are interested and who can start spreading the word that maybe plastic doesn't have to be such a subject of doom and gloom and despair, which it's often characterized as. Yeah, so I'm still running those. I have a couple more left that are scheduled to do, and then I'm just going to release the meditation as an audio track for people to download.
oh, good.
Because I think you participated in my first ever workshop session.
Oh, the first one, right? Okay.
Yes, and the meditation is largely the same since then, but I've made tweaks here and there depending on feedback I've received from
Yeah.
those initial sessions. So I think in a couple of weeks, at the end of August, I'm envisioning I will put that out there, and then I'll see where I'm guided to next.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think that's really important work, and I'm sure that many other people could benefit from even just hearing the way that you speak about it. And so being able to, actually do a workshop or a meditation is taking it to another level, which I think is really, really great. So I'm excited to see more of what you create around that, and more in your series, in your video series, and spoken word art, and more paintings that you create.
I,
I love
this,
yeah.
yeah, I just do so many things that I'm like, I don't know if I'm able to do this thing that a lot of people do of this is my official business title and this is what I specialize in. Because for me, it's like I do this and this and this.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
I
think
think,
you narrowed it down well, like artist, writer, intuitive, and then
yeah.
space for all of this.
Did you do a video recently with somebody who was multi-passionate and had a lot of different interests? I need to go back through your videos and watch them properly because I feel like that one could really speak to me.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I speak like all the people that I'm drawn to are like that, you
Mm.
know, like I don't know if you've heard of I always forget people's names, but basically Multipotentialites, and
Yeah.
Emily, I forget her last name, but anyway, she did a TED talk about this, about like us, these people who have multi passions, who are interested in so many things, and we don't need to necessarily specialize, because that is also our gift, right, to show up with all of this range of knowledge. So I feel like all of the people that I connect to are like that, you know, and I think it's so beautiful because it's following that curiosity, following the next like place that you feel called to go so you can grow. And like how beautiful to be able to see that you have all of these modes of expression and you allow yourself to feel into whichever one feels right for the message that wants to kind of be expressed in the moment. I think that's great.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I will have to Google that TED talk for sure.
Like I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll include it.
Oh,
I always share it with people because I saw it like, I don't know, a long time ago now, and it was something that really uh, helped free me from that feeling of like, why am I not a specialist? Like, why can't I choose one thing like some other people seem to do?
oh, preach. Yes, yes, I had that feeling.
Yeah, it's hard when that's like a lot of the what we've been like asked to try to do again in the education system. When I feel like in creativity and in business and a lot of like what we're creating in this, again, this new like prosperity consciousness and where we're going with how we create and the businesses that exist, like we need people like us
Mm.
actually, to be creating from all of these talents and interests and passions. And it's not a problem, it's a gift, you know, and we need to like see that for ourselves and really step into it. So to me, you are a great example of that. And like, don't hold yourself back if you don't feel like you need, like if you're feeling like you need to choose one thing, don't
The
feel
same to you.
that. I'd just say that. Yeah,
It's great to be weird. That's,
exactly.
being weird is the best,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, on that note, being weird is the best. Is that going to be the title of this? I don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
see what comes to you.
yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Aisling, again, for everything, for being so inspiring and being weird and doing your thing and connecting with me. And just thank you so much. And thank you for being in this
And
conversation.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It was fun. It was nice. Thank you so much. So thank you for watching. And please do check out Aisling's work. I'm going to include links for sure with this video, so you can go and see what we were talking about, and maybe even see about working with her for yourself, if that sounds right. So thanks again, and I'll see you in another Expression from the Heart.
Bye.